Okay, now we're going to talk about using the CCD to plan treatment. Let's review Jim's CCD again so we can talk about planning treatment across sessions. At the beginning of treatment, we'll be working primarily at the bottom of the diagram, solving situational problems, responding to dysfunctional thoughts, and teaching him emotional regulation and behavioral techniques. If he were significantly anxious, I might also teach him techniques to reduce his physiological arousal. It's not until the middle of treatment that I help Jim modify his core beliefs and assumptions. I wish I could focus on these beliefs sooner and help him develop a new core belief that is reality-based and that he could really believe. But if I do this too early in treatment, I will probably lose credibility with him. He's convinced that these beliefs are true and will probably just think, well, if Judy really knew me, she wouldn't think so positively about me. So I gain credibility by helping him evaluate his situation-specific automatic thoughts first. He learns that just because he thinks something is true doesn't necessarily mean it is true, and that he feels better and acts in a way that's more in line with reaching his goals when he changes his thinking. And just because I'm not necessarily working directly on Jim's core beliefs doesn't mean I'm not working on them at all. I'm just working on them indirectly. For example, the theme of his automatic thoughts reflect the core belief. I give Jim data that he is being successful in light of his depression when I praise him for even getting himself to work every day and for coming to treatment. I positively reinforce him for being such a responsible father, even though he's not able to see his children as often as he would like. And to counteract his belief that he is a failure, I ask him to keep a credit list, which I'll describe later in the course. At the beginning of treatment, therefore, I use the bottom of the CCD when working with Jim. I provide psychoeducation, teaching him to view his experiences through the lens of the cognitive model. We begin working on his problems of inactivity and avoidance, his intense dislike of his job, his fears of losing contact with his children, and his financial difficulties. I teach Jim some self-soothing techniques to regulate his emotions. I teach him behavioral skills, such as how to communicate more effectively with his wife. I'm also educating Jim about depression, building a strong therapeutic relationship, setting goals, starting relapse prevention, and using other strategies. You'll learn about all of these things later in the course. In the middle of treatment, we continue with these strategies, but now we also emphasize modifying Jim's assumptions, especially that he has failed because he lost his previous job and his marriage. I help him create the following new core belief: I'm okay even if I have problems. And we reframe evidence he has that seems to support the old core belief. At the end of treatment, we add an emphasis on preparing Jim for termination.